Now, just 6 months ago, possibly the funniest situation I've ever seen in my life began to take shape on my For You page. It gets a little deeper than that, you'll see, where a video of what I can only describe to be the closest thing we have to a modern day Eastern Game of Thrones began to take shape. Now, what you may not realize is that on the surface level, this may look like a simple turf war, but on a deeper level, this is at least Wikipedia level lore 10 years from now. So today, let's talk about none other than the currently happening Great Delivery War instigated by the tech giant JD. Now, when I saw that clip, I thought to myself, after living through Elon Musk casually dropping $52 billion on a social media app, never in a million years did I think I would witness an economic version of the worrying state, with three tech giants locked in fierce competition for survival of the fittest in the jungle. How fiercely, you ask? How badly do they want to win? Well, they're selling shit for free, so what can I say? Anyways, here's a 60-second brief rundown on the key players we have at hand, right? Alright, starting with the obvious one, Alibaba, emerged in the early 2000s, no introduction needed. Basically, Amazon now owns half of China's online retail, sees an opportunity in food delivery and local services, recognizes the brand needs its own champion in the field, acquires the online food delivery platform Alibaba, aka Are You Hungry? The blue uniform people, captures about 1/3 of the food delivery market, ranks second in the industry. Then we have Meituan, started in 2010 as a group buying deal site like Groupon. They were pretty small, but so was 100 other different tech companies they were competing with at the time. Obviously, nobody knows what they're doing back then, successfully survives the fight against all 100 companies, emerges in victory, dubbed by netizens as the 1,000 Groupon War. Goes into food delivery, captures 2/3 of the market, refuses to elaborate, wears yellow uniforms. Now, JD emerged sometime in 2010 as well, selling electronics both online and in-store, somehow develops a nationwide logistic network despite almost going bankrupt from COVID 1.0, known for reliable shipping, hates Alibaba, and wears red uniforms. Now, three tech titans all sprinting towards the same finish line in the same market. Now we know the players at hand, let me walk you through the generational battle that is unfolding at this moment. Now, historically, Alibaba's Are You Hungry? And Meituan has always been in direct conflict with each other, and the reason's pretty simple, they were both competing for the same market, while JD focused on selling goods from warehouses, steering relatively clear from groceries and food delivery. Oh, why is that, you ask? Well, remember how I said Meituan had around 2/3 of the market share? Not only does that effectively mean Meituan is basically the default option, majority-wise, for food delivery in China, which means they set the prices, they make the deals, they wear the pants, curbed by the server admin once, but continues anyways. Point is, imagine if anything above this line means you make money in the industry, and everything below this line means you lose money. Now, since Meituan has majority in market share, Meituan gets to kind of draw the line. If they decide delivery fees sit here, then anyone who wants to compete has to at least match me or go even lower just to take the dub. But joke's on you, because going lower means burning cash. So JD sees the situation, well, that I ain't trying to play. And it's not like other companies haven't tried getting into food delivery. Douyin, China's TikTok, pretty impressive company, right? Tried to muscle its way in 2022, and their pitch was relatively simple. Why watch a food video where you can literally order the food? So they started offering food delivery options, realized they don't have the logistics or the reputation. For example, cases where buyers order food, nobody bothers to make them because nobody comes to collect began happening everywhere. In the end, couldn't even beat the blue people, takes the L, leaves the market, decides to do a partnership instead. So anyways, the two giants within the game continues to fight in the meantime, both securing a pretty impressive audience base, and everything seems like it was well and good. Until one day, everything changed. Jingdong's here, baby! What do they bring to the table? Low fees for vendors, insurance for riders, proper employment contracts, fair work policies. It kind of reminds me of back in high school where we used to run polls for school captain, and then motherfuckers would be on that stage saying anything to get elected. Oh, we'll have 2 lunch breaks and discount coupons for canteens. So Meituan hears about this and makes the first counter offense, hosts an official response the same day, cancelling penalties for late delivery for riders. Oh, bit of an aggressive defense there, pal. Anyways, the point of that move is stabilize morale first, so nobody f***ing jumps ship. Then a week later, they fire back properly at JD with an announcement of their own, promising that all full-time and even part-time riders would now be covered under social insurance policies. Now, what's even funnier is that the way they decide to respond to this was, oh, these policies, they were in development since July 2022 under Human Resource Department projects. Better late than never. Great defense. Both parties release their respective moves, and the battle goes on for a couple months. So JD gets an estimate of a couple million orders a day. Numbers aren't officially released, but things are going as it is. Nothing crazy. Then, early April, JD launches another campaign effectively releasing a massive stimulus granting major discounts across the nation. Millions of netizens and influencers across multiple platforms begin to post the crazy discounts they were receiving from JD, while simultaneously dubbing the situation as a modern-day battle of the three kingdoms. Meituan responds on the 12th with an equally sizable stimulus. But this is where it gets interesting. Now, this is a public announcement made by a Meituan executive publicly denouncing JD. Now, the letter begins with, "Let me just say a few words. We're not the first to do this, and we're not going to be the last. Alibaba, DD, TikTok all do it, and DD's doing it overseas." Now, to put that more bluntly,
people, when I knock people out, they don't move. They're not. Who the is that guy? Who the is that?
the sentence closes, "Compete with us and you'll be left in the trash heap of history." JD, of course, decides to fire back on the 21st of April with a letter addressed right here. "We also publicly advise a certain platform. You go over a decade without paying social insurance and housing fund for any of your delivery drivers, you use powerful algorithms to exploit them to the utmost, you turn a blind eye to the safety issues of delivery drivers whose accident rates is over 3 times of that what it should be. You have forgotten a saying of our ancestors, water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it. I hope you take care of yourself, turn back soon." Damn, is it that soon? Now, as the war continues to rage on here on the blue side of the battlefield, Are You Hungry recognizes that this is not a battle they can win alone. So sometime late June, reinforcement arrives as Alibaba joins the fray. Because what's the #1 backup plan for when it goes south in your business ventures? You gotta bring in your rich dad. So I guess with $50 billion freshly arriving into the accounts receivables of the Are You Hungry team, another batch of stimulus and discounts were also released into the public, draining the markets even drier and profits even thinner. So they settle for a couple days, and then comes mid-July. The war escalates even further as Meituan releases a fresh new discount week. What's the reason to discount? Any special occasions, my king? Yeah, it's Saturday. Reason to celebrate. Discounts. Alibaba swiftly counters by bringing in Taobao. Taobao releases Super Saturday. 188 yuan, everybody gets a discount. Claim now, lasts as long as we need it. But the king isn't brought down this easily. Meituan, the emperor class player, makes a move in order to fend off the assault, bids back against the offensive by literally releasing shit for free. God damn, what a play. That's right. A discount. Of course, this particular maneuver caused such a ruckus that Beijing steps in, blowing the whistle in order to prevent further wastage on 0 yuan orders. They didn't stop the war though, it carried on. As Jingdong launches a third wave of assault, 500-gram lobsters for 16 yuan, only limited to 100,000 people every night. If you miss it tonight, there's one tomorrow. Now in the meantime, clips of vendors absolutely flooding with orders began to trend all over social media. Now this particular screenshot posted by a netizen consists of a chat log between a writer and the customer, where the writer claims there are so many orders, there is literally no hope for you to get your drink. And screenshots like this one also began to circulate, where a writer was forced to grab a random milk tea because the original order got lost in the chaos. Some shops were hit so hard by the surge of demand, they literally had to close their shops early, running out of stock hours before closing time. Writers, on the other hand, were also benefiting short term, as one claimed to have made his weekly wage in the span of a couple hours. Now, I suppose on the economic side of the discussion, all companies involved received a massive hit to stock prices, driving values to historical lows. Now, as of today, rumor has it that Pinduoduo, the group buying app, is also planning to enter the market, as the tech giants suffer somewhat considerable losses. Either way, I'm still paying $30 on my Uber Eats, so we'll see how it plays out.